So many people spend their lives chasing after love from others, validation, acceptance, attention, approval, believing that without it, they are incomplete, as if their worth is determined by how many people want them, need them, or say the words, "I love you." But the truth is that the most important love you will ever experience is the love you have for yourself, because every other kind of love is temporary, fragile, and subject to change, while the love you cultivate within your own heart can remain constant if you nurture it. And when you finally realize this, life becomes lighter, because you stop begging for scraps of affection from those who cannot or will not give it. You stop bending yourself into shapes you were never meant to take just to be accepted. And instead you begin to stand tall in your own truth, knowing that your value doesn't fluctuate depending on how others see you. And in that moment of realization, loneliness doesn't disappear, but it loses its power, because you understand that being unloved by others does not make you unworthy. It simply makes you human, in a world where not everyone will see or appreciate who you are, and that is okay, because love from others is never guaranteed, but love for yourself is always within your control. And it is that love, the quiet, patient, loyal love you show yourself in moments of failure, heartbreak, or disappointment that will carry you further than any fleeting relationship ever could. And when you hold that self-love close, you discover that you can walk through rejection, betrayal, and even isolation with your head high, because you are not empty, you are whole. And loving yourself does not mean arrogance or selfishness. It means giving yourself the kindness, compassion, and care that you may have once begged for from others, and in doing so, you create a foundation so strong that no absence can shake it. And though others may come and go, their love may rise and fade like tides, your love for yourself will be the anchor that keeps you steady in every storm, reminding you always that it is better to be alone with peace in your heart than surrounded by people while starving for their approval. And once you embrace that truth, you will see that it is not only okay to live without being loved by others, it can even be liberating, because it frees you from the endless cycle of chasing what is outside of your control and teaches you instead to cultivate the one thing you can never lose, the love you give to yourself. People often grow up with the idea that love from others is the highest form of validation, that without someone telling you "I love you," without friends constantly including you, without family showing approval, or without a partner by your side, you are somehow incomplete. But the truth is that this belief is one of the most damaging illusions a person can carry, because it ties your entire sense of self-worth to forces outside of your control, forces that are fragile, temporary, and unpredictable. And what ends up happening is that people live life like beggars waiting at the doorsteps of others, hoping for scraps of affection, attention, or validation, never realizing that the deepest, most reliable love they could ever experience is the love they show themselves every single day. When you rely entirely on others to feel loved, you are setting yourself up for cycles of disappointment, because no matter how much someone cares for you, no human being can perfectly fill the void you carry within. People get busy, they change, they walk away, they misunderstand you, they fail to notice your struggles. And if your sense of worth is tied to how consistently others love you, you'll find yourself broken every time their attention shifts. But when you learn to anchor yourself in self-love, in treating yourself with the same patience, respect, and kindness you so often give to others, you begin to realize that it is not only possible, but perfectly okay to live life without receiving love from anyone else. Because your wholeness does not depend on outside approval, it depends on the relationship you cultivate with yourself. Now, let us be clear. Saying that it's okay not to be loved doesn't mean that love from others isn't beautiful or that relationships don't matter, because human connection is a fundamental part of life. But the danger lies in making that the only source of meaning, the only measure of value, the only thing that keeps you standing. Because once you lose Itor, even when it wavers, you are left shattered, feeling worthless, as if life itself has betrayed you. And yet, when you think about it, the moments of greatest growth and strength in your life rarely came from others constantly validating you. They came from within, from the times when you were forced to stand alone, when you had to pick yourself up after disappointment, when you had to wipe your own tears and whisper to yourself that you could make it another day. That inner love, that ability to see yourself as worthy even when others don't show it, is the foundation for true resilience. People often confuse self-love with arrogance, as if valuing yourself means you think you're better than everyone else. But self-love is not about superiority, it's about survival, it's about refusing to abandon yourself in the very moments you need love the most. When you can say, even if no one loves me, I will love myself enough to keep going, you carry a strength that can weather heartbreak, loneliness, and rejection without losing your sense of identity. Many people fear the idea of not being loved because it feels like the worst fate, as if to live without love is to live without meaning. But this fear comes from forgetting that love is not something we can always control, it is not something guaranteed, and it is not something permanent. People leave, relationships end, parents disappoint, friends drift away. And if your happiness is chained to the constant presence of external love, then your peace will always be fragile, crumbling every time someone withdraws. Think about how many people compromise who they are, betray their values, or live inauthentic lives just to keep someone's love. They stay in toxic relationships, they tolerate disrespect, they accept crumbs of attention, all because they are terrified of being unloved. But when you develop self-love, you stop begging, and you start choosing, because you know that your value does not drop when others fail to see it. You may want love, you may welcome it, but you are not dependent on it for survival. That is freedom. And ironically, when you stop clinging desperately to others for love, when you release the fear of being unloved, you actually attract healthier, more genuine relationships, because people can feel the difference between someone who needs them to fill a void and someone who chooses to share love out of abundance. But why is it so hard to love ourselves? Why do so many people feel like they're not enough unless someone else says they are? The answer lies in how most of us are raised. From childhood, we are taught to perform for love. Parents praise us when we succeed, scold us when we fail, and often tie affection to achievement. Teachers reward good behavior and punish bad, conditioning us to believe that we are lovable only when we meet certain expectations. Society constantly sends messages through media, culture, and peers that your worth depends on your looks, your money, your social status, or your relationship status. And so we grow up believing that love is something earned, something external, something always at risk of being taken away. Rarely are we taught that simply being alive, being human, is enough reason to deserve kindness and compassion from ourselves. So by the time we become adults, self-love feels foreign, even selfish, while seeking external love feels natural, even necessary. But this conditioning can be unlearned. It begins the moment you decide to stop measuring your worth by others' recognition and instead affirm yourself. When you start practicing self-love, the world begins to change, not because it becomes easier, but because you no longer crumble under the weight of rejection or loneliness. Imagine walking through life with the mindset, it's okay if no one claps for me, I'll clap for myself. It's okay if no one comforts me, I'll comfort myself. It's okay if no one loves me, I'll love myself. That kind of resilience doesn't make you cold, it makes you strong. It doesn't close you off from love, it actually opens you up to experience it without fear of losing yourself, because you know that even if it ends, you'll still be whole. When you realize that self-love is enough, you stop seeing loneliness as failure. You stop chasing after people who don't value you, and you stop wasting years begging to be noticed by those who never truly cared. You begin to move differently, with confidence and calmness, because you are no longer trying to prove your worth, you already know it. And that knowledge is what will carry you through life's darkest seasons, through heartbreak, rejection, loss, and disappointment. Because even when no one else shows up, you know you will always be there for yourself.